David Bowman, the jeweler and owner at Desert Chains, desertchains.com. This is the last of the short video series on what I do typically to take a picture of a gal wearing my jewelry, turn it into a great picture for my website. We've done a ton of stuff already. We put a nice clean background on. We brightened the whole image a little bit. We took away the acne. We took away the tattoo. We removed the purple halo from around the jewelry. We painted in her fingernails. Really, the only thing that's left to do is crop it, resize it, put a watermark on it. So from this point forward, I am not going to save my image. I'm only going to do my steps and then export it into a separate JPEG file, which I will update. If I do all those things and then save it, I can't come back to this image with all of its layers, recrop it, do anything to it later. So I'm not going to save at this point. So the first thing that we're going to do, since we're going to JPEG, we need a single layer, not a ton of layers like we have here. We've got, layers inside of groups and stuff. We got a bunch. We have to get rid of all that, make a single layer. So we come up here to layers, and we're doing what's called flatten the image, flatten image, which is just about the bottom of that menu there. And you'll see I now have one layer, one background layer with all the changes incorporated. Now, from here, I'm going to crop it. So either C on my keyboard, or I can hit the little crop tool up there on my tools bar. I like to crop mine as squares because these are eventually going to go into an online gallery and they're all going to be kind of laid out, right? I always think it looks sloppy when I look at somebody's website and the images are wider and smaller and bigger and taller and kind of all over the place. I like a nice, clean, I think professional looking set of images. So they all need to be the same. Part of that is making sure they're all, the same dimensions. I just like squares. Whatever you choose, just be consistent. So I'm going to drag her over a bit. So I'm cropping just below her nose as planned. That's why we didn't do the acne on the top of her face. And actually, I kind of like that the way it is. All right, so let me hit OK or enter. There's my image. Now, it's a big image file still. Too big, too high of a resolution for what's appropriate for a website. So I'm going to change the size down by 9 by 9 inches, like this. And I'm going to change my resolution. Computer monitors can't display 300 pixels per inch. So anything in excess of what they can display just makes the file size too big, makes it a slower download. So I'm going to go to 72, which is the size that monitors can typically display. So 9 by 9, 72. Okay, and you'll see when I blow it back up again. So it made it small because we from a lot of pixels down to just a few pixels. It's exactly the same because all those extra pixels, that extra resolution was wasted anyway. So there's that. I've got the right size. I've got the square. Now the only thing left to do is put my watermark. So I've got a separate image over here with just my watermark on it. Basically, I open up a blank document, created a text layer where I wrote stuff into it, and then deleted the original background layer, which was the white layer, leaving me this nice, clear, see-through layer with nothing in it but my watermark. So I'm going to, with my move tool, click and drag it up to the other tab without letting go, drag it down into this image. And I'm going to get some warnings. Colors are different. I know that. All right, there it is. Looks like crap. So the reason why it looks like crap is that these ends, one is too big and also it's too dark. I need to change the opacity. So I can go over to my little opacity slider above my layers, or I can just use my keyboard. If I want 50% opacity, I click 5, 40% 4, 80% 8, 100% 0, etc. If I want 15, I do 1.5 quickly, but I want 50%. All right, so now this layer with this image is too big. So I need to transform it. I need to transform the size of it. To do that, I can do Control T. You can also go up to layers, and there's a thing up there. But Control T for transform. And I can drag it, and I can resize it. Now, to make sure I'm not distorting it, this, when I resize it, undo. I hold down my Shift key while I resize it, and that keeps the height and width ratios the same, or the proportions are the same. So Shift now does both height and width at the same time, keeps the proportions about like that. Unfortunately, it's going to go over top of her hand and fingernails a little bit. I'm putting all of the watermarks this photo shoot in about the same place, and unfortunately that means sometimes it's on top of other stuff, but that's okay. And the words are still more or less legible. I could bring it up to 60% probably, but let me hit OK here, or enter. And if I bring it up to 60, yeah, not too bad. I'll leave it there. Let's see how much we're actually hiding here. Yeah, you can still read it. Okay, pretty good. Now, I'm back to 2 layers. I want just one. So I only have 2 layers. I can take the top layer and merge it with the layer below by doing Control E. Might be Command E for Mac people, but Control E. I can go up to layers and flatten, but there's only 2. So Control E. Why is it E? I have no idea. All right, so Control E. Now I have 1 layer. I've got the right size. I've got my watermark. I've got the right resolution. Only thing left to do is export it. So I did a keyboard command. It's a little bit tricky. It takes 4 fingers, but it's Alt Control Shift, then W key way up there. Or you can just go to export as JPEG. Yes, 100%. Why not? 648. That's 9 inches by 72 pixels. Copyright and contact. Yes. Export all. Give it a name. Find the folder, put it in, and that's not the shoulder close, that's the shoulder profile. Big one. I haven't done the cropped in close one yet. Save. I know it already exists. And there we go. That's the image that's going to go on my website. Now let me show you something kind of nifty. So there's our new one. And just one. Well, let me just pull it up. All right. Just do anyway. This is the full Persian. So the shoulder. Can't open it. Don't save it. Now open it. Okay. So all the stuff we did. So there's our original image. The first thing that we did is we selected her and put her on a nice, clean, white background. Next thing we did is we did a slight correction to the brightness, brought it up just a little bit like that. Then we took off her acne, the bottom half of the face. I didn't work all the way up because I knew it wasn't going to be in the final image, so why take the time? So did the acne. Then we took off the tattoo and did little cleanups all around, some lint on the shirt, little moles. Everybody's got them, that kind of stuff. Scars, all that got taken away. Next, we painted in the fingernails and put that sheen back on top so they have that nice 3D look and they look natural. Cropped it, resized it, added the watermark, and that's the final image that we get. So hopefully you found this all pretty useful. If you're thinking about doing some photographs for your own website, showing off your own jewelry, or whatever the case may be, and wanting to turn your pictures into something that's a bit better representation of the model and the jewelry. Hopefully these techniques and these tricks will kind of help to explain not only some of the things you can do, but some of the processes for doing them. So again, thanks a lot. I'm David Bowman with Desert Chains at desertchains.com. You have a great day.